Welcome back to Chris and Retro. Tonight's video is a memorial. It's a recognition of a friend of mine that I lost a year ago tomorrow. I'm putting this out here to recognize her humanity, also, and to discuss the nature of addiction, how it sometimes plays out, and hopefully offer some hope to those that are working in this environment and some encouragement. I have a friend of mine. When I was first, from my last season of incarceration, I was working at a local restaurant that's owned by a friend named Raf. And Raf, thank you for all the support you've been to me over the years. I don't know where I'd be without you and that job and the support you had for me while I was working to get my feet back underneath me. But we were working together at this restaurant, and she was a server, and we became friends because of our recovery conversations. She had 3 years of sobriety from heroin. I was early on in my stages from alcohol. And so she was, what I consider to be somebody as a fellow traveler that was finding some success. Somewhere along the line, she started to make some compromises, and I'm not sure what that is, but it turned to a reoccurrence, probably several reoccurrences. What I've learned with heroin over the years is you just really never know. It's pretty baffling for the first couple of days, and all of a sudden it really takes off, and there's no doubting. I noticed she started getting really thin, and it was troubling that, what's going on here. And there was always assurances that she was not using, but in fact, she was. She finally came to me one day, sharing with me that she'd had a reoccurrence and that she was going to, and she couldn't figure out why she was doing it. She thought so much of her child and wanted to be here for him and never wanted that kid to go without his mom. And she was terrified of that, but yet couldn't resist the call and all that came with it. I remember she really went off towards the end here while she was in New York. She really was struggling, and we'd had her in rehabs a couple times, and she'd break out and come back. And she's kind of a crazy person when she was involved in substance use, because she definitely was not rational and pretty spirited about how she dealt with it. But when she got to the point where she'd kind of settled in, she got herself in trouble with some legal issues, and decided to move back to Florida, where the father of her child is. They get along fine, a good co-parenting situation. They were just in another state. So she brought her son with her back to Florida and was going to live down there. Her story started to grow, and she started to sound like she was really becoming a healthy Caitlin again. And she'd got a job with a treatment provider. She was going through her own treatment. She was resolving her legal issues here in New York. She was surrounded by a positive, supportive work environment down there, appearance-wise. And, she looked healthy and happy. And that was super great news to hear. And we'd interact from time to time, and she was always really encouraged, showed me the certificate of her employment and treatment agency. And then, we just kind of stayed in touch. I saw that things were going well for her, and really kind of took for granted that she was doing okay. Then on November 16th, 2022, 2021, a year ago today, tomorrow, I get a call from my son saying, "Did you hear about Caitlin?" And I said, "No, what happened?" And he said, "She's dead." And I didn't even really need to ask why. I kind of knew what it would have caused her death. I'd have been shocked if it had been anything about that, honestly. Evidently, she went out one more time with her closest friend down there, who also was in recovery, and they both died of an overdose together. As the story comes back to me, whether that's factual or not, I don't know. It's all third party. What is truth is that she's gone. She left behind her son, grieving friends and family, and the culmination of a baffling story of a beautiful young woman with a great spirit and good hard work ethic. You just never understand why it takes people and why we get so hooked. And that's the thing, is we don't understand. A couple weeks after that, somebody else close to me overdosed, and that person didn't die, but it definitely altered their life. So what do we do with this? What's the point? We just sit around watching people die? I want to encourage those that are struggling right now, and you're in recovery, or you're not in recovery, and you're considering getting out off the streets, or you're doing wherever you are, whatever stage you're at. You don't have to have a lot of faith to get better. You really don't. It's kind of a math problem, actually. It's you put the work in, you have accountability, those two things together. You do it 24 hours at a time. Build on that day after day, and eventually it turns into a life that you are proud of and well worth living. But you can't do it isolating, and you can't do it repeating the same old behaviors of the past. Now, there's a lot more to it. There certainly is a lot more to it. There's medically assisted treatment. There's all kinds of stuff that we got to consider and see what part works for our own journey. But there is some substance to understanding that you've got to work a plan, pick a plan and work it. and be accountable to somebody else. If you're at a point right now where you think things are getting out of control, I promise you they are already out of control and have been for a while. If you're at a point and you've got the notion that someday you're going to leave your child without a parent, you will be leaving that child without a parent. If you're afraid of it, run from your addiction. I wrote a piece on iBlock Chronicles a while back that if you go to chrisandretro.com under my blog, there's a piece called Burning Bridges. In that piece, I talk about burn your bridges, and I mentioned a few streets that happen to be Rochester drug hotspots. Burn your bridges to those streets. Burn your bridges to the dealers. Burn your bridges to friends that have a temptation or a commonality in that life, because they may be having a bad day or bad season that drags you into it when you might be doing okay without them. People, places, and things. Where you place yourself determines where you're headed in a lot of ways, in a lot of days. When you're down and you're starting to feel the call of your addiction, those you surround yourself should be people that are willing and able to pick you up and be strong enough when days when you are not strong. There are many days I'm not strong. And I have people around me that I count on that I say, hey, I'm feeling this way. And they say, come with me. I got you today. And for those in my audience that are struggling, reach out. Reach out. We'll find you hope and help. If I can't do it myself, we'll find somebody that will. This is a baffling journey, this addiction thing. And tonight I want to honor the life of a person that I saw as a hard worker, funny, volatile as heck, but it added to the spice of her life. And somebody I cared for very much, and I'm sad to see that she's gone. But it did, her life through me, the legacy through me, is that she's the embodiment of a missed opportunity. There was so much she could do. So much she could do. And it stole it. So it increases and doubles down my rigor to wrap around those that are willing to find recovery, if you're willing to find it. Big difference than wanting to. You got to will yourself to do it. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Please like and subscribe. Put some comments in here. If you get this video and you know Caitlin and you want to share a memory about Caitlin, please do. I'd love to have this be a memorial for her as the best I know how. I'm thankful for Caitlin as my friend. I'm thankful that I knew her. I'm sad she's gone. Her profession of faith gives me some hope that she's in a better place. But for now, we're here. We got work to do for those that are alive and suffering. Come walk with me. Help me help them, so to speak. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you soon.